This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Police probing fatal shooting in St. Mary. The police are probing the fatal shooting of a man by a licensed firearm holder in St. Mary on Sunday. The deceased has been identified as Marvin Dunkley. Investigators reported that about 3:20 p.m., Mr. Dunkley attacked the licensed firearm holder with a machete during a dispute on Lighthouse Road in Galena. He was shot in the head. Mr. Dunkley was transferred to the Kingston Public Hospital, where he died on Monday morning. INDECOM submits file to DPP on case involving Rastafarian woman. The news has been informed that INDECOM has submitted a file to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions on the case involving Nzinga King, the Rastafarian woman who claimed she was trimmed by the police while in custody. The file was presented on November 10. Ms. King says her locks were cut while she was being held at the Four Paths Police Station in Clarendon on July 22. In September, the decision was made for INDECOM to take charge of the probe, which was being carried out by the police. Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson said INDECOM requested to lead the investigation. Jamaican killed in car crash in Cayman Islands. A Jamaican man died in a motor vehicle crash in the Cayman Islands on Sunday night. According to the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, 39-year-old Alden Irons, who resides in the territory, was a passenger in a car which collided with another vehicle and then slammed into a concrete signpost. 4 other persons involved in the crash remain in hospital in stable condition. According to Cayman News Service, Mr. Irons is the 9th traffic fatality in the country this year. $3 million to escape. Man made huge cash offers before walking out of police lockup with a golden key to freedom. Determined not to be extradited to St. Lucia to answer murder and gun charges, 27-year-old Orville Purnell of Belgium Road, Buff Bay in Portland, made an offer of $3 million to police personnel and the inmates at Kingston Central Police Station to assist in his escape from custody. But that came after he forked out $50,000 to inmates who were able to convince their cronies to throw cutting implements inside the yard of the police lockup so that he could cut his way out of the jail. A special investigation by the news has revealed that Purnell boasted while he was in the lockup that he would not be extradited before he successfully escaped last Wednesday, December 1. First, there were reports that he offered $50,000 to any inmate who could get the tools he needed to cut his way out of the cell. The money was paid and the police had information that he was planning to escape from the less than secure cell 6 on the short side of the lockup. At that point, he was moved to cell 9 on the more secure long side of the lockup, said a news source. Days later, it was found that he had started cutting the ventilation grill, which is how several prisoners have escaped from police lockups in the past, added the source. Purnell was then moved to cell 1, also on the long side of the lockup, where it was assumed that it would be more difficult for him to cut the grill undetected. It was then suggested to the powers that be that this man should be transferred to the maximum security section of the lockup, where there are 3 cells. One of those cells is housing a notorious gangster, another houses a suspected multiple murder, but one cell is free. When that recommendation was rejected, it was then suggested that he be moved to the Horizon Remand Center, as it was clear that Purnell was determined to escape. I don't know why all those suggestions were rejected, added the source. An inmate who serves as a jailer later reported that the key for the cell block where Purnell was being held had gone missing. The police knew that, and no attempt was made to change the lock, and no investigation was launched to find the missing key. But there are many people who had access to that bunch of keys, including a recently convicted inmate who served as a jailer and was given a run of the place, even setting duties for police, charged the source. According to the source, days later, Purnell was caught on camera boasting that he had the golden key to freedom. It was obvious that this man now had his escape plan, but still nothing was done. The camera shows that the day before his escape, he gave away all his personal belongings, including clothes, shoes, toiletries, and snacks to fellow inmates, alleged the source. The man just pulled out his cell and left the custody of the police with no one knowing who collected the $3 million that he had offered or if he paid more than that, the source said, disappointment obvious in his voice. The Police Inspectorate and the Professional Standards Oversight Bureau is investigating the escape, while a number of police personnel have been transferred, awaiting the outcome of the probe, which includes examination of CCTV footage. Purnell was arrested in Buff Bay on Wednesday, July 14, 2021, by investigators from the Police Fugitive Apprehension Team. He was held on a warrant for murder, illegal possession of firearm and ammunition, and escaping custody in St. Lucia in August 2020. According to investigators, Purnell was in custody in St. Lucia for the offenses. However, he escaped in October 2020 and subsequently fled to Jamaica, where it is believed he had been hiding until his capture. Purnell is of dark complexion, medium build, and approximately 180 centimeters or 5 feet 11 inches tall. He has several tattoos on both arms. At the time of his most recent escape, he sported dreadlocks. However, investigators believe he may cut his locks. Health Ministry to proceed with the COVID-19 booster shots. The government has decided to proceed with administering COVID-19 booster shots and mixing different brands of vaccines. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton made the disclosure last evening while speaking on the news. Dr. Tufton says the Health Ministry will start giving the booster shots in a few days. We had an issue over the past few weeks with the inventory of Kaiser, which is the one that would be the most common booster recommended. But we did get some boosters yesterday, and we will get someone at the end of this week or early next week. It means that persons who have taken the Pfizer vaccine 6 months prior will qualify and will be able to get Pfizer as well as AstraZeneca. They can get a boost from a Pfizer shot. For the J&J, anyone over 2 months could get a second dose of the J&J or a Pfizer. Dr. Tufton disclosed that the schedule for the rollout is to be announced today, and the ministry will prioritize vulnerable groups. We're starting with healthcare workers in the first instance and those 60 and over for the time being because they are the most vulnerable. Even though the vaccination rate is highest among that cohort, 60 and over, there are still persons who have not yet gotten vaccinated, and we want to give them added protection. And the healthcare workers, they work on the front line, so we want to give them that opportunity. Meanwhile, in a statement late last night, the Ministry of Health says starting Monday, adults 60 years and older and healthcare workers will be given a booster dose of the COVID-19 vaccines. The ministry is recommending that a booster dose of the Pfizer vaccine be offered 6 months or more after the completion of the initial doses. A booster dose of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine can be offered 2 months or more after completion of the initial dose. And the health minister said the government will not be acting on a recommendation to implement vaccination or test programs in customer-facing public entities at this time. The recommendation was made by the National COVID-19 Vaccination Operationalization Task Force. The task force said it believes a program requiring workers in select areas to get vaccinated or get tested on a regular basis is needed amid the impending threat of the fourth wave of COVID-19. Suspect in killing of 6-year-old beaten by mob and hospitalized. The man suspected of murdering 6-year-old Timora McCollum is now under police guard in hospital after being beaten by a mob last night. It is alleged that the man was toying with a gun when it went off, hitting the 6-year-old. She was rushed to the hospital where she was pronounced dead. Senior communications strategist at the Jamaica Constabulary Force, Dennis Brooks, told the news that the suspect remains under police guard. In an earlier interview on the news, Brooks described the suspect as a 55-year-old man who is said to be a self-taught gunsmith who was in his yard repairing an illegal firearm that discharged a round hitting Timora. Reports are that the man fled the scene but returned to the area in the night. The update is that he was beaten, he was chopped by the residents, Brooks told the news. He was taken to the hospital where he remains under police guard. Member of Parliament for the Central Kingston constituency, Donovan Williams, has condemned Timura's killing. It pains my heart to know that this diabolical love affair with guns is robbing our children of their future, Williams said. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.